Dear Zoom audience from all around the world, today we celebrate the launching of Zoom, the Baalbek Reborn. It's a 3D movie. It's not a real movie, but a reconstruction of the monument based on excavation and scientific research made by archaeologists, historians, and architects. Baalbek finally entered the club of 3D virtual tour like Rome and other Roman cities. The 3D tour provide more animation than a walk through the rooms. The preparation of this work began more than 2 years ago. All parties worked seriously in order to realize something at the level of rooms of Baalbek. Even the corona pandemic, the COVID-19, the emails aren't stopped between all parties engaged in this work. We had hoped that this opening would be attended by a wide audience, but COVID-19 stopped a lot of activity and practice and lifestyle. Any case, Zoom app solved the problem, and we are today connected to 3 continents, from Germany, from USA, and from Lebanon. We will start, and it's a great pleasure to listen the governor of Baalbek, Mr. Khudor. Please.
بكرر ترحيبي بجميع صاحب المعالي صاحب السعادة والضيوف الكرام. أهلا وسهلا فيكم. برقة أمل كتير حلوة ومناسبة كتير سعيدة رغم الغصة الموجودة بسبب الظروف يلي عم يمرق فيها البلد. من المؤسف جدا إنه كل هيدا الجمال وكل هيدا الشغل ما يكون اليوم مفتوح لكل العالم ونشوف السواح من جميع يعني أنحاء الدنيا وتعيش هيدا التاريخ وهيدي الثقافة. بس إن شاء الله نحن دائما أملنا ببكرة أحلى وتكون قريبا نقدر نطلع من مشاكلنا سواء الداخلية أو المشكلة الصحية اللي عم تضرب العالم كله لحتى نرجع نشوف مثل العادة آلاف السواح سواء من لبنان ولا من خارج لبنان عم بيكونوا بقلعة بaalbek وعم يستفيدوا ويتمتعوا بكل شيء نحن عنا إياه. هلا بس لحتى يفهمونا الآخرين أو switch to English briefly. I want to welcome you here in Baalbek, and I want to thank the Ministry of Culture and the German Embassy. The German fingerprints in Baalbek are here since the 19th century. And I'm always very happy to see German delegations here in Baalbek. You have a very dear and big space in this city. And of course, we will have more and more cooperation together in this sector and other sectors. وهون بس بدي انهي بشغله وحده بستغل هذه المناسبه انه نحن كمان بالمحافظه من سنه اطلقنا ابلكيشن اسمها فيزيت بaalbek اللي هي بتضم جميع المواقع السياحيه بالمحافظه سواء كانت سياحه اثريه او دينيه او بيئيه او رياضيه. فكمان ان شاء الله نرجع يكون في عن جديد سياحه اكثر لحتى الناس ممكن تستفيد من هذه الابلكيشن لتستفيد من اكثر من نهار سياحي على مستوى المحافظه. شكرا لك.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Michael Rose, he's the deputy of a German ambassador in Lebanon. Please, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Guten Morgen, everyone. I am happy and proud to represent the German government and the German embassy here at this fantastic event. I was looking very much forward to having another possibility to come here together with my wife. It is the second time for me. I'm visiting these fantastic archaeological sites. The first time I was here, I was accompanied by a large group of friends from Germany. And for them, it was one of the most fascinating experiences here in Lebanon on their trip. And we still keep discussing about how fantastic their visit here was. So it is for me very pleasing to see a development like this, making Baalbek available and accessible to the whole world by virtualizing the visit to the archaeological sites. But at the same time, I would very much wish that more and more people will be actually able to come in person to see these fantastic sites. So once again, I very much welcome the development of Baalbek Reborn and the virtual access to make this experience here available to the whole world. But I would very much like to see people actually coming here in person and to see for themselves how great this is. Thank you very much.
I would like to tell you that we have, according to Sebastian from Germany, that 400 that are registered to join the event today. It's a great pleasure. And also it's a great pleasure to listen to His Excellency, the Minister of Culture, Dr. Abbas Murtada. He will be happy to inaugurate projects on that much high level, precisely app download for free for everybody, for everyone. And we will be seen by everyone through Zoom. We are waiting you.
Für den Libanon und seine berühmte sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, für den Libanon und seine berühmte berühmte Stätte Baalbek ist heute ein besonderer Tag. Ein besonderer Tag vor allem in Zeiten von Gesundheits- und Wirtschaftskrisen, in deren unser Traum nach Besuchen dieser religiösen Städte und nach menschlichem Austausch so schwer umstritten ist. Baalbek ist ein ganz besonderer Ort. Die gut erhaltenen Tempel faszinieren die Menschen seit Jahrhunderten. Es waren die Bürger Baalbeks, die mit diesen Bauwerken lebten und sie erhielten. Es waren zuerst deutsche Archäologen, die vor aber 120 Jahren den Schutz von den Ruinen entfernten und damit einen Beitrag zum Tourismus im Libanon leisteten. Es waren deutsche Archäologen, die zusammen mit ihren libanesischen Kollegen im Jahre 1998 ein Lokalmuseum in Baalbek errichteten. Und es sind Baalbek heute deutsche und libanesische Archäologen, die seit fast 20 Jahren intensiv in Baalbek forschen. Sie haben in Baalbek sehr viel neues Wissen zu Baalbek gesammelt und können die Geschichte dieses fast 10.000 Jahre alten Ort viel besser präsentieren als zuvor. نحن اليوم الجميع يمكن عم بيقول انه الوضع الاقتصادي والوضع الصحي هل بيسمح لانه نطلق هيك مشاريع؟ نحن بنقول من بعلبك، من قلعة بعلبك، مع كل الحضور والفاعلين وايضا الضيوف الالمان بهيدي المدينه، انه طالما الامل موجود، طالما نحن لازم نفكر لما بعد كورونا، لازم نفكر كيف نحن بدنا ندعم كل القطاعات السياحيه عندنا بلبنان وخاصه الاسارات حتى تكون مشاركه بالنهضه القادمه في لبنان. واليوم اذا ما عملنا مشاريع، اذا ما عملنا ابلكيشن، اذا ما عملنا امور تشجع كل اللبنانيين المغتربين وايضا في كل انحاء العالم اللي بيحبوا يعملوا سياحه بلبنان ليتعرفوا، ما بنكون نحن عم نشجع اكيد كل السواح يكونوا عندنا بلبنان. نجتمع اليوم عبر تقنيه زوم الافتراضيه التي الزمتنا بها جائحه كورونا باطلاق تطبيق بالبك ريبورن تمبلز، وكل الثقه بان يكون هذا العمل الذي هو ثمره تعاون ما بين العديد من الباحثين العلميين بريق امل يتجدد في كل يوم، وفي قدرته على حفظ ذاكره وتاريخ بعلبك هذه المدينه العريقه. ان المعرفه ليست لها نهايه، والتطور العلمي لا حدود له، ومن تجلياته ان تكون التكنولوجيا في خدمه التاريخ والاثار لاظهاره وتسليط الضوء عليه وتعريف العالم به. الوقت اليوم هو لاتخاذ المزيد من الخطوات الهامه في هذا المجال. من هنا يبرز أهمية عمل وزارة الثقافة مع كافة المديريات التابعة لها في العمل على تنشيط الثقافة في مدينة الشمس وإبراز كنوزها التاريخية، مع السعي الحثيث إلى إشراك سكان بعلبك واللبنانيين والعالم أجمع في النتائج العلمية الجديدة والتي تظهر أكثر فأكثر أهمية بعلبك. ولهذا الغرض يتم اليوم عرض التطبيق الذي يستخدم أحدث التقنيات لإعادة إظهار الشكل الأصلي للمعابد الرومانية في بعلبك. إنها جولة افتراضية تعيد التراث إلى الحياة وتتيح للراغبين في السفر في رحلة عبر الزمن للتمتع والتعرف ورؤية مدى فخامة الهياكل في ذلك الزمن السحيق. هي دعوة إلى اللبنانيين المقيمين والمغتربين للمشاركة في هذه التجربة الغنية بالآثار القيمة والجمال الأصلي. كما نأمل في الوقت نفسه رؤية المزيد من علماء الآثار في لبنان يشاركون في إعادة اكتشاف التاريخ، ونرحب بشدة بالمزيد من البرامج التدريبية في المشاريع الأثرية وفي كيفية الحفاظ على الآثار وإظهار روعة المكان. إن التعاون الوثيق بين المديرية العامة للآثار في لبنان والمعهد الألماني للآثار في بعلبك منذ أكثر من 20 عاماً هو مدعاة فخر وأمل ودليل على عمق ومتانة العلاقة التي تجمع بين ألمانيا ولبنان. ولا ننسى كيف سارعت ألمانيا للوقوف إلى جانب لبنان بعد كارثة المرفأ في 4 من آب، والمساعدة المستمرة في مجال الحفاظ على الأبنية التراثية المتضررة في بيروت. كما أغتنم الفرصة لأشكر السيد بسام الغانم الذي كان له الفضل بتنفيذ هذا العمل على مستوى عال من الحرفية والرقي المتميز، آملين منه المساعدة في رعاية المشاريع المتعلقة بأعمال التأهيل والتحسين داخل المواقع الأثرية المنتشرة في المدينة. والشكر دائما للمنفذ Flyover Zone وللباحثين الأثريين من ألمانيا ولبنان. شكرا لكم جميعا، شكرا لحضوركم.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Abbas Murtada. In 1997, she began managing excavation project in Baalbek, Duris, and in Uruk, in Sipar, in Iraq. In 1998, she was responsible for setting up and opening a museum in Baalbek. In autumn, last autumn, in 2020, she became director of the organ department of the German Archaeological Institute. It's a great pleasure. Dr. Van S., please, all are waiting you.
السلام عليكم من ألمانيا وصباح الخير على كلكم. Excellencies, Minister of Culture and Agriculture, Deputy Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, very honored Governor of Baalbek Hermel and Mayor of Baalbek, dear Director General of Antiquities, dear ladies and gentlemen, and dear friends. For almost 24 years, archaeologists and architects from the German Archaeological Institute and the Brandenburg Technical University of Cottbus have been traveling to Lebanon in the summer to conduct scientific research in Baalbek. The hospitality and the fascinating archaeological site attracts us there. Many friends and a ton of new knowledge about the history of Baalbek are the result, as well as several scientific books. More than 120 years ago, the minister mentioned it already, it was the enthusiasm of German building historians for the preserved Greek and Roman temples in the Near East who also turned their attention to Baalbek, and it was the extensive financial support of the Emperor of the German Empire, himself an archaeology enthusiast, that made possible the uncovering of the Roman temples at Baalbek at that time. Between 1900 and 1904, the sanctuary of Jupiter, the temple of Bacchus, and the so-called temple of Venus were cleared of rubble, and the results were subsequently published extensively. The many archaeological remains inside and around the modern city of Baalbek were also important. And even then, The focus was not only on the Roman period, but also on the subsequent periods. However, the departure of the German researchers in 1904 was actually only a beginning. French specialists, and later from the 1950s, the Lebanese Directorate General of Antiquities continued the archaeological work and excavated additional areas in Baalbek. When the German Archaeological Institute was asked in 1996 whether a museum could be established in joint work with Lebanese colleagues, aiming at celebrating the centennial of the emperor's visit in 1898 and the first excavations, it became clear that the archaeological research had by no means been completed and processed yet. So a complete story could not be told to the visitors to the site. And a new scientific project was born, which together with the BTU Cottbus and in very close cooperation with the Directorate General of Antiquities of Lebanon, is still running today under very different topics. The simple goal was to gain a better understanding of the details of what has been preserved archaeologically. Only then can new questions be asked. For example, questions about how long Baalbek has existed. We now know today that it has existed since the late 8th millennium before our time, so almost 10,000 years. Or how the Baalbek people networked in the different periods of their existence, which contacts they had with their neighbors or in distant regions, where the ideas for their architecture, their lifestyle, or even the materials for their tools and their art objects came from, or how they organized life, where the fields were, how the water supply worked, whether there was a city wall to protect the town, how the streets were organized, where the residential quarters and urban buildings were, and how they were related to the temples. Questions upon questions that have to be analyzed anew for each settlement period. So this is the archaeological daily life, and as scholars, such questions help us to reconstruct and understand not only the site of Baalbek, but the history of entire regions. But we also raise these questions because we want to connect modern and ancient memories of the inhabitants of the town, or to tell the many national and international visitors that makes Baalbek's history special. A history that is so long gone that it can no longer simply be read about in the books. It must be painstakingly reconstructed from the archaeological remains. Rarely, however, are there as many opportunities to grasp history as in Baalbek. This is especially true for the Roman period from the 1st to the 3rd century, but also for the pre-Roman and the later centuries until the 15th century AD. Archaeological structures, sites, and layers are usually only preserved in fragments. It takes many individual observations, almost like a criminalistic search for clues, to understand how the structures and sites once looked. Our long years of research in Baalbek now allow us to reconstruct such an earlier appearance. We have therefore, in technical cooperation with the company Flyover Zone, created new reconstructions of the Roman temples in Baalbek. For the content, we have concentrated on the temple area for the time being. For centuries, it has been the attraction of Baalbek simply because the temples were damaged but never completely disappeared. Therefore, in 891, Yaqubi, or in the 10th century Mas'udi, could rave about the extraordinary stone buildings and the excellent sculptural decoration. Or, therefore, Baalbek in the 18th and 19th centuries became a special port of call for Europeans on the Grand Tour. Or, therefore, in the 20th century, millions of tourists visited the place and admired the gigantic stone blocks which underline the monumentality of this temple area. That Baalbek is a very special place is thus since very long known to many. Not everyone, however, has the opportunity to visit Lebanon. Others plan to do so, but are not convinced yet. So we would like to share our knowledge and appreciation for the place, and thus invite people all over the world to get to know what is special about Baalbek. Based on earlier research by Daniel Kränker, Armin von Gerkan, Friedrich Ragette, Adolf Hoffmann, and the more recent analysis by Daniel Lohmann, Holger Wienholz, and Henning Burwitz, we have sifted through all the details we know and used them for the new reconstructions. You will now be able to experience the result and the technology along with the many details of the content via the app itself. I very much would like to connect my enthusiasm for this project with thanks. Very many people and institutions have supported us. First of all, there are the residents of Baalbek themselves, who have always welcomed us and shared our joy in archaeological work. There is the Ministry of Culture and Agriculture of Lebanon under its current minister Abbas Mortada, and the German Foreign Office, who supported us in all aspects. The General Directorate of Antiquities of Lebanon with Sarkis Khouri and Lord Saloum, and the colleagues worldwide who critically follow our results. The scientific Baalbek team, in which many Lebanese and German or European colleagues and students participate, and the many friends and donors, the German Research Foundation, the German Archaeological Institute, and very special, the great financial support from Bassam Al-Ghanim in memory of his parents, who have supported us over all these years. Many thanks to all of you who follow and continue to be interested in our work. We very much look forward to being back in Baalbek soon to continue the work and meet our friends. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Maggie, and waiting you during summer with your team.
I very much hope so.
Bernard Fleischer is the director of the Virtual World Heritage Laboratory at Indiana University. He has PhD in 1975 in classic. He studied archaeology at American Academy of Rome. He taught classic and Roman archaeology for 20 years at UCLA and then for 9 years at University of Virginia. He has a 3 model of cultural heritage monument, including most notably ancient Rome in the time of Constantine and Adrian Villa in the 2nd century. He is the founding editor of Digital Application to Archaeology and Cultural Heritage. Dr. Bernard Fleischer from USA, please, we are waiting you.
Thank you very much. And I believe Sebastian is going to play the video I sent him. Is that right?
That's right, it's starting.
Hello, I'm Bernard Fleischer. I'm sorry I can't be here today for this joyous celebration, but thank you for inviting me to say a few words from my home in Bloomington, Indiana, in the United States. As the president and representative of Flyover Zone, I'm delighted to speak to you today. Flyover Zone is responsible for the technical work behind Baalbek Reborn. We started this company a few years ago to create virtual reconstructions of the most important cultural heritage sites around the world. So far, Flyover has recreated the entire city of ancient Rome. We've also recreated parts of Hadrian's Villa, the imperial government's retreat at Tivoli. We are now working to add new virtual tours this year that will take you to see the tomb of Ramses VI in the Valley of the Kings, the pyramids of Giza, and the Acropolis in Athens. But however impressive these places might be, no list of the world's most important tourist destinations would be complete without Baalbek. So you can well understand why Flyover Zone jumped at the opportunity to recreate Baalbek in the Roman period, which you see behind me. Today, the sites visited on our virtual tours are often damaged or in ruins. Flyover Zone uses 3D digital technology to visualize the latest scientific results, making it possible for the general public not only to take virtual trips through space, but also through time. We always work with specialists on each site and create visualizations reflecting how they understand the physical appearance of the place in its heyday, hundreds or even thousands of years ago. But our tours are not only about seeing the ruins spring back to life, important as that is. No, they're also about learning about ancient life by listening to the commentary of the same experts who helped us make these beautiful recreations at each stop on the tour. In this way, our virtual tours have the very best information available to them as they take their virtual tour. And of course, this also means that our tours can be used in schools as the equivalent of virtual field trips. To make it easy for people to go on one of our virtual tours, we make them available on a wide range of devices, including smartphones, Android and iPhone, tablets, PCs, Mac and Windows 10, and the VR goggles of Oculus and HTC Vive. Whatever the device you use, the tour is exactly the same. We know from user studies of our customers that they appreciate what we're doing because very often we're presenting to them sites that they didn't even know existed, as important as they are, and they're very grateful to find out about them. We know that our virtual tours whet our customers' appetites to actually take trips to visit the sites that we recreate. And this is exactly what we want. The purpose of virtual tourism is not to replace, but to enhance real-world tourism. In the case at hand, Baalbek Reborn is intended to raise awareness around the world of this unique site, to help travelers to prepare for a visit to Baalbek, and to stimulate more tourism to Lebanon generally after the COVID pandemic passes, as we fervently pray it will as soon as possible. Speaking personally, I can tell you that nothing prepared me for my first trip to Lebanon and to Baalbek, and I'm still absolutely amazed as I think back on the memories of that trip. The ruins of Baalbek were even more awesome and impressive than my research about the site had led me to expect. Well, let me conclude by thanking our colleagues at the DGA and the DAI for all they did to make Baalbek Reborn possible. We look forward to future collaborations with them. Many people on Flyover's international team also made critical contributions, and I would like to thank all of them for the fine work that they did. And let me single out in particular the head of our 3D modeling department, Lashet Sekondia, who lives in Tbilisi, Georgia, for his work of creating the 3D model that you see behind me, and our art director, Mohammed Abdulaziz, who lives in Alexandria, Egypt, for the work he did in detailing the 3D model. And last but not least, our CEO and CTO, Nathaniel Tavares, who put all the raw elements together to make the virtual tour that we are presenting today. And I would especially like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsor, Mr. Bassam Al-Ghanem. He is a great lover of art and architecture. Ever since he was a boy and his parents brought him to see Baalbek, the site has had a special place in his heart. We thank him for sponsoring our project in loving memory of his parents, and we're sure that the love that he has for Baalbek will be kindled in many thousands, or I hope millions of hearts of people around the world, thanks to his generosity in making it possible for us to create and to distribute at no cost Baalbek Reborn. Thank you.
At the end, it's Henning Burwitz. He carrying Baalbek in his heart and mind since 10 years. He is member of the team of Baalbek, working on peristyle of Mustafa Khan. He's architect, and he realized finally his dream.
Thank you very much for the introduction and the honor to present the results of this collaboration project by the Lebanese Antiquities Service, Flyover Zone Productions, and the German Archaeological Institute publicly for the first time. Before Baalbek Reborn will absorb all attention, I would like to start thanking our partners for the great collaboration, starting with the Director General Sarkis and Law Saloon and the service who gave us the permission to work here. I would like to thank Bernard Fischer and the great team of Flyover Zone, introduced already, and all of whom made it possible to show our scientific results in this way, and who were such a pleasure to work with. Thanks go out to Holger Wienholz, the specialist on architectural ornamentation of the sanctuaries, who contributed to the commentary and to supervision of the creation of the model. I would like to extend the thanks to all the team of the German Archaeological Mission, who over the years contributed to our knowledge site we can now present to a much wider audience. Thanks go out to the Lebanese colleagues in our team, especially Paula Abu Harb and Mark Jard, who translated all the content of the app and performed the audio commentary, so we can now present the app not only in German and English, but also in French and Arabic. Very special thanks again go out to Bassam Al-Ghanem, who generously supported this project, whose love for Baalbek sparked this project, and who made it possible. Last but not least, I want to thank the people of Baalbek for their warm welcome and hospitality each time we are in Baalbek. Over the work, many of them have been working with us in the field, and their help is one of the foundations of our work. With great pleasure, I would like to show you Baalbek Reborn. So, please, welcome to Baalbek. We are now in front of the sanctuary, looking at the propylon of the sanctuary. Please, let's have a look around. Within the app, you will find yourself in 360-degree panoramas, allowing you to look around at whatever catches your interest. You can even zoom in, get closer, or step back a little and have a look. We want you to feel like being on site. At the click of a button, you can find a virtual tablet in front of you. On there, you can find everything you would need during your tour. You can find a description of where you are. You can find additional images you could enlarge and flick through if there's more of them. And most importantly, you can find an audio slider at the bottom to control the playback of the audio commentary. With a map on the top right-hand corner, you can navigate 38 stops across all of the sanctuary and choose which place to explore. So let us have a quick walk. On each stop, you could follow the audio commentary.
We are situated in the long colonnade on the altar court's north side.
The representation you can see will be tailored to the content of the commentary. If we explain the site today, you will see it as it looks today, but when we talk about what it looked like in 215, the image will switch automatically to take you on a time travel to the year 215 and to show you what it looked like in antiquity. Again, you can look around completely freely and feel like being on site. You can choose to explore 38 stops all on your own, depending on your choice and preference. Or you could explore the site or be guided in a guided tour. So the complete tour, the complete collection of 38 stops would be 2 hours of commentary in total. And on the guided tour, you will be taken along, allowed to sit back and enjoy a special edit that would take you along automatically for 30 to 37 minutes. Let us try another stop. We tailored the stop and the stops and the content to cover a lot of different aspects of the site. So we plan to welcome every user at his individual point of departure and give everybody the chance to explore what they are interested in. This may be a special focus on architecture, presenting you with a whole lot of details and terminology if you so wish. On another stop, for example, you will be explained the space and the impression the space makes on the user, and especially how different an empty space would look like this.
Similarly, even though the
Or what it would look like if you have statues and some, well, ancient visitors. But the app not only allows to travel in space and time, it allows to go to places no visitor could usually see. So I would like to take you to the top of the 6 columns of Jupiter. Here we are more than 25 meters above the podium of the temple and more than 40 meters above ground. Only by lucky coincidence, there was a scaffolding on top here, erected to do conservation work on the 6 columns, and this gave us the chance, and by permission of the Lebanese Antiquities Service, we could take these marvelous photos to show this very special perspective to people. But the star of this app, obviously, is the site itself. For example, the Temple of Bacchus, one of the best preserved Roman temples there is. It is outstanding, and looking at the reconstruction, you can see what is missing of this building practically is the wooden roof construction only. This building has captured the imagination of the world since hundreds of years. Baalbek truly is a World Heritage Site. Finally, I would like to show you the highlight of this sanctuary. The Temple of Jupiter. Today, only 6 columns are preserved. But look at these columns. These are the biggest preserved at 22.5 meters in height, more than 2.20 meters in diameter. They're resting on the biggest stones ever quarried by mankind. And we can see in the reconstruction the full extent of this marvelous building. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Hine. Currently, Baalbek entered the club of 3D tour like Rome and other Roman cities. A 3D tour provides more animation than a walk, but not actually picture of the property, but presentation of what it could look like. Perhaps this activity has come at an important date and time, especially with COVID-19, which allow a large number of travelers and cultural to enjoy a small trip inside the archaeological site. Thank you.
So I guess in Baalbek, they are enjoying the Oculus devices in order to look around in virtual Baalbek. So we are very, very jealous, speaking from Germany, because they do have the possibility to be in the same time in Baalbek itself and admiring the reconstructions. Laura, is this true?
If it's possible, I can show you today Muhammad Abdel. He's starting with the Oculus, and he's very happy, of course. And I think all the tourists will be happy with that, of course. Hoping during summer to see more people and tourists in Baalbek. We hope.
We very much hope so as well. And actually, let me mention that we are about to hand over several of the Oculus devices in order to be used by tourists in Baalbek. So we really would like to make them the experience possible to see how Baalbek looked like before and admire how it's marvelous today.
I hope, really, I hope. Thank you.
So this means that we have to thank everybody in
Yeah, thank you.
Lebanon, the minister, the governor, the deputy ambassador, and everybody from DGA to have made this event possible.
Yeah, and thank you for your effort also, and for Henning, for Bernard Fleischer from USA, from you, and from everybody, technician or anybody. I really thank you, and we appreciate it a lot.
Then all of us, all the audience, let's meet in Baalbek next time.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy
Thank you.
and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Greetings to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, audience from all around the world. Thank you.